Hi, I'm going to draw some normal distribution curves with GeoGebra. So here I've got information about gestation period for a dog. Dog generally is pregnant for 61 days, and the standard deviation is 1.5 days, meaning that 68% of dogs will be born within 62.5 days is the upper limit, and 59.5 days. So we'll draw a graph of that using GeoGebra. So we open GeoGebra and go to Classic. And once there, I'm going to go to probability. And it opens up with a normal distribution curve. I need to tell GeoGebra that the mean is 61 days and the standard deviation is 1.5. And then I want to show a diagram that shows the portion of dog pregnancies that are within one standard deviation of the mean. So 61 is the mean, 1.5 is the standard deviation. So I go 1.5 below 61, and I go 1.5 above 61. So 1.5 below is 59.5, and 1.5 above 62.5. And there we have a diagram showing that 68% of pregnancies are between 59.5 days and 62.5 days. So the area shaded is 0.62 of the whole area under the curve. The whole area under the curve is 100%. This part is just over half at 68%. And so I'm going to take a screenshot of this showing the mean and standard deviation, showing the calculation, and drop that onto my Google Doc. And then I'm going to do an interpretation. Below it says this diagram shows that 68% of dog gestation periods are within one standard deviation of the mean. And our particular case for dogs, that's between 59.5 days and 62 days, 62.5 days. Okay, the next one says a diagram showing gestation periods within two standard deviations of the mean. So that means after 61 is the mean, 1.5 is the standard deviation. So I have to calculate how far is 61 plus 1.5 plus another 1.5. It takes us to 64. Or 61, subtract 1.5, subtract another 1.5. It takes us to 58. So we'll draw a diagram of that. So the mean is still 61, standard deviation 1.5. But now our lower limit is 58 and our upper limit is 64. And we see it's 95%. In fact, it doesn't matter what the mean and standard deviation is, whether it's potatoes that you're measuring the weight of, or if it's the pregnancy of a dog or something else, which has most items around about the mean and a few far away, we'll always have about 95% within two standard deviations of the mean. Okay, and so we'd say the z-score here is 2. Let's take a screenshot and drop that onto the Google Doc. Okay, and now to interpret that, this diagram shows that 95% of dog gestation periods are within two standard deviations of the mean. That is between 58 days and 64 days. Right, the next one says diagram showing how many gestation periods are below 60 days as a percent of all dogs. So I just want below. So let's go to the curve, and this time I want a below value, and I want to change this upper limit to 60. And so I'm just going to type this in here so I have it as exactly 60. And so this tells me that 25% of dog gestation periods are less than 60 days. So a quarter, but a quarter of all dogs that are pregnant, female dogs are pregnant, their pregnancy will last less than 60 days. So this diagram shows that 25% of dog gestation periods are below 60 days. Okay, the fourth diagram says show gestation periods that are above 60 days. Well, it's either going to be below or above, so it's going to be 75%, we expect. So let's draw that diagram. And so I'm going to change it from being below that graph to being above that, using that button. And look at 74.7, which rounds up to 75%. Take a screenshot, drop it on, and do the interpretation. This diagram shows that 75% of dog gestation periods are above 60 days. Okay, the last one asks for diagram showing gestation periods below 68 days or above 64 days. And so I'm going to choose the below or above button, and so I want the here below 58 days or above 64 days. And so we can see this small area down there is 0.2 or 2%, 0.02, 2%, and 2% above. So together that makes 4%. 0.0455 multiplied by 100, 4%, 4.5%. Okay, this diagram shows that 4.55, so let's round that to 4.6% of dog gestation periods are below 58 days or above 64 days. So it's quite rare to have a pregnant dog giving birth above being pregnant for longer than 64 days. It's also quite rare for them to be pregnant for less than 58 days before giving birth. Thank you.